When in actuality, you probably brought up the past twice in the last 10 arguments that we had.
You look like you're in your feelings here on this one, buddy.
Passive aggressiveness when it comes to you and your mate talking.
So you're saying I'm passive aggressive then?
No.
That's exactly what you're saying. Because you say I use always and never a lot. I'm not passive aggressive.
Awkward.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Rick.
This is Deb.
This is LMC Talk. We're talking about love, marriage, and of course, everything can be discussed over a great cup of coffee.
That's right.
Let's go. Listen, guys. Hey, first and foremost, before we start this out, I wanted to say thank you for all the supporters for the Rise Coffee that we had out. We got a lot of support in regards to that. Thank you so much for purchasing. Keep purchasing. This is really good coffee, and it's not only that, it's a little different, meaning that it has all these great things that it does for your body.
Well, you see the little ad at the end. So.
Yeah, we'll put it out again.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, today we're going to talk about something pretty interesting. For the most part...
How do you know it's interesting?
That's what I'm trying to say. For the most part, I don't really know what we're going to talk about sometimes, but you know, my wife usually just comes up with a topic. I don't get to hear about it, and then we get to it live on screen so we can have like some natural reactions. If this is the first time you're tuning into us, just go ahead and like, subscribe, press the notification button.
You don't want to comment?
Make sure you comment as well. Okay, you know what it is. Listen, so we're gonna get it popping. So let's see what's going on today. We usually start out with a tidbit of the day. So let's see what a tidbit is.
All right. So, however heated their arguments might become, the couples are routinely advised by a therapist to avoid addressing their partner with the incendiary words always and never. They stress that such absolutes are hyperbolic and overgeneralized and invariably put the receiver on the defensive.
You know what? That's a good thing that we're talking about that, because
so you know what the topic is, right? Because I
don't know what. Okay, let me hear what the topic is first.
Always and never.
Always and never. Yes, this is one of my pet peeves, and I'll tell you why. Okay, because a lot of times when you have arguments or just for, I would say, passive aggressiveness when it comes to you and your mate talking.
So you're saying I'm passive aggressive then?
No. That's
exactly what you're saying. Because you say I use always and never a lot. I'm not passive aggressive.
Awkward.
Okay, so listen. With the words always, never, hey, you always like this, you never do this, those words are so absolute, I want to say, so absolute, where it feels as though, first of all, it's not geared in any truth, because what happens is that there's never going to be an always or never. Not really. For the most part, people do things sometimes. Literally it could be 80-20, where they do it only 20% of the time, but of course in your mind it gets magnified at the time that it's happening, right?
All right, so I got some points to kind of back you up here a little bit, I guess. So it says here, the trouble with using blanket terms like always and never when you're arguing with a partner is that doing so puts unnecessary limitations on your conversation and even over your relationships. Absolutes, that, like what you said, leaves us stuck. And that's a clinical psychologist, Tara Dewitt, that said that. And also, let me skim through a few things here that I saw that I thought was interesting. Always and never can contribute to all or nothing, black and white thinking. This type of thinking is harmful because it interprets situations in inaccurate extremes. Few aspects of life are always or never anything. One example of the damage extreme thinking can cause is the discrediting of accomplishments by yourself or others with this kind of thinking.
That's what I'm trying to say. It discredits so much when you say always or never. Yeah. Okay, my wife, if she sees something on social media that she's like okay, people going somewhere, they're like, oh, you never take me here. And you're like, wait a minute, we literally just went somewhere 2 days ago. What do you mean you never take me here?
But you never took me to that specific place.
But I'm saying in general, I'm just using that as an example. But I'm just saying like.
But the fact of the matter is, you never took me to that place.
Yeah, but you can't just say what if you say the blankets thing, like you never take me anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that specific place, but you never take me anywhere.
Yeah.
So if you say you never take, yeah, that's nice. You never take me anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we're like, we just went somewhere like 2 days ago. Did we go to that specific place that she's talking about? Probably not.
But you never took me anywhere since a week ago. That's all.
That's awful. That's just. See? So my thing is that if you're gonna say never or always, it cannot be that absolute. So if you say, hey, you never take me here, or you never take me out, all right, or you always do this. When you have an argument, the first thing you want to say is, oh, you always bringing up my past. When in actuality, you probably brought up the past twice in the last 10 arguments that we had.
You look like you're in your feelings here on this one, buddy.
Because I'm mad, bro.
You look passionate.
Can you see I'm passionate about this because I don't like because it definitely discredits everything you've done up to this point. You feel like I'm never like what? I've been doing this for many years, and because I didn't do it this one time or I fell short on this one thing. Remember, you gotta have some kind of grace when it comes to this kind of thing. You can't expect that your mate is always gonna be doing something or they're gonna always be 100% on everything. They're just humans, just like you.
Honestly, you're right about everything that you said there as well, and I have some more points to back that up. Then I'll give you my take. It says here, as a caveat, there are some never and always statements that are literally accurate. For instance, your partner may never, despite your request, have helped with the dishes or done the laundry, but in almost all cases, these terms are exaggerations designed to highlight a deeper truth not yet recognized or expressed. That is, they usually can be seen as referring figuratively to something crucial to this, magnifying the truth about something that doesn't necessarily make it any less true, which is to say essentially true. All right, so.
Yeah, I understand what it's saying.
What it's saying?
It's saying basically, it's probably a bigger issue somewhere along the line, and you want the person to pay attention to what's not happening or meaning that.
So always and never brings attention to
a lot of things, including just the communication of you guys. It's probably something deeply rooted or something other than what you're talking about, but you want to bring the attention to we say always and never because you want it to hit home a lot harder than you just saying, 10% of the time you really don't do this. Yeah. That doesn't hit home as hard of you saying you never. Yeah. Because now you blanket in a whole bunch of different things, and then the person gets more attentive when you say never or always, as opposed to you just saying like a percentage of the time.
That's true. But do they, or do they shut down at that point? Because both things can work for that. Is that yes, I can see like, babe, you never take me out to dinner. So it will be like, if it's been a while since you take me out to dinner, man, it could be for you, it's like, it kind of feels like forever, so I maybe should do it more. Yeah. But it could be like, but I did take her out 2 weeks ago, so man. So you could shut down in that moment saying, okay, never? That's not true. Yeah. So now that could lead you to be combative, and then everything after never, you don't hear.
I don't even
because you shut down.
And that happens sometimes too. If you're having an argument and somebody says, oh, you never do this, you're like, okay,
but
just forget it, because you say I'm never doing it. Oh, you say I'm never at home. listen to that. That's one of the most crucial ones. Okay, you're always at work. You are never home. How are you never home? You sleep there. But
okay,
go ahead.
Okay, but that key word is you sleep there. But you saying, but what your mate is saying when she says you're always never home, she's saying you never spend time with me. You just sleeping there.
But
does not equate to you being home.
But you have to say that. That's what I'm saying. You got to be specific, because that hurts the person knowing that they're out trying to make a better life for the person, and you're now basically saying, what you're doing outside is not relevant enough
That's
for
not
you
the-
to not.
but that's not what you're saying.
But that's what you hear sometimes when you hear never.
That's not relevant. It's just that to me it's a cry for attention in whatever area without using the right words. But because I think it's a cry for attention. Now, when people say always and never, where did that come from? Because it's something that I found myself saying a lot. I mean, it just feels right. But where did that come from, that always and never statement? Obviously it's a thing, so, but
I think it's attention grabbing. I swear to you, it's one of those things where the person that you're speaking with will pay more attention if you word it in that way. Of you saying always or never, it makes a bigger impact on the person's response, because now their eyes are gonna open like, wait, what do you mean always? So you're saying that everything I've done so far has not registered in your mind, because you're seeing the negative more than the positive part.
But what if it is more negative than positive? Because when someone says, or I say always or never, and I'm leading towards you never take me out, then if you've only taken me out 10% of the time, isn't it more leading towards never? Because that means 90% of the time you've never. So if I say to you, know what, babe, you've never, 5% of the time you have taken me on vacation, but 95% of the time you don't. So if I word it that way, will that make you feel better?
Yeah, see, that's not even, that's the thing. I'm trying to say, maybe that is the case, but who argues like that, or who makes their point like that?
Hence where always and never comes in.
I know.
Because always and never almost feels like I can't tell the last time you did something for me.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been so long ago, and I know it's triggering, and it does say it here even yet again. A statement like you always do this or you never do that isn't just dramatic. It's likely untrue. It also put the other person on the defensive, and instead of listening to what you have to say, they'll focus on coming up with examples that negate your false statement.
Yeah. So basically you say like, oh, I never take you out. We didn't go somewhere last week. And you're like, well, I'm not talking about that kind of takeout. I'm talking about a different kind of takeout. Or I'm never at home, but I sleep here. Or I'm never at home, but I've been home 80% of the time, or 20% of my work.
But when you're home, that 80% of the time,
the impact that
what are you
make
doing?
home.
Yeah. What's the impact? Because the impact to you feels like
fair,
the impact to you feels like you're always, but the impact to me feels like never.
Yeah, because you feel as though you seldom do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So in your eyes, yes, I'm home, but in my eyes, it's almost like might as well you not be home because
of the impact.
Because of the impact that you're making, which is none.
This is awful. This is just bad, because how can you just say something that, all right, so say I'm not home, but you know why I'm not home.
It still doesn't matter, you're not home.
But you know why I'm not home. With me not being home, that means we have a shelter above us.
So that's a whole nother topic you're talking about, because one cannot substitute the other. You not being home, providing a home and a shelter, which that's wonderful and that's great and that's nice. And this is why Marjorie, Steve Harvey's wife, is cheating with the pool boy now, because he's never home. But he's providing a lavish life.
First of all, that is a rumor. So this is
Allegedly.
That's the first thing, okay? So we have no evidence that's
happening. Allegedly. You know why? Because he's never home.
Okay, so
never.
So that gives an excuse for infidelity or anything else. It doesn't necessarily have to be infidelity.
Yeah.
But it could be whatever.
Right. I
don't think there's ever a justified amount of time frame that you can say always, because more than likely, just like what you said, it's probably not going to be technically true.
Technically.
Yeah.
All right, so here are some points for the always and never. You always go on and on, never letting me get a single word in edgewise, like what you just did now.
Yeah. All right. So I can say that when we've had arguments before, and you don't let me get my point across sometimes, I feel like, you know what I mean? And you probably feel vice versa too.
No, but this is not just even based on us. It's a bunch of things here that's just based on always and never. Like this one says, you never treat me like I'm important to you.
Yeah. and that's probably over a certain period of time.
You just don't right
over and over again at certain particular parts.
Oh, you know what I just thought of? Why don't couples stop waiting until we get to never? Because like how this says, you never treat me like I'm important to you. So that means you have felt unimportant for so long and you never said anything.
That's a great point.
So you got to the point of never. What if you had said something before you got to that point? Then we wouldn't be using that word never.
And then you can like approach the situation in a different manner when you feel as though it's making a small impact on you. You just mention it before it gets to a bigger impact.
Right.
So you say, hey, babe, you know, I realize that you have to provide for us, but you have to find a way to balance.
Babe, who says that?
I'm not saying this is the proper way to do it.
That's a Stepford wives. Well, you know, I see that you provide and you give us all these wonderful and great things.
But what is right?
However, honey.
But I know, but what is that? I know, but this is the right way to do it though. I'm saying it's gonna be hard for you to do it that way, but I'm saying it's the right way to do it. If you see that something's derailing, you try to fix that before it gets to that point where it's over the cliff. So if you want to do that and make sure that your relationship is strong down the road, you see things go in a certain direction, and women have instincts. They see when stuff is a little bit off. They'll be like, babe, and it doesn't have to be like how I say it, but I'm saying, well, however you guys communicate, just make sure you communicate in a manner.
But I'm communicating and saying never.
No, that's what I said. We're not trying to get to that, right? We're trying to not get to that. So we say, hey, before it gets to a point, you just be like, hey, babe, listen, I see that you've been spending a lot of time at work. Listen, we need to spend some time together because this is, it feels as though
too separated from
it feels as though we're growing apart. You know, once you say it like that, it feels as though we're growing apart, and I don't want it to get down the road where we just, all of a sudden, we're walking past each other in the house and it's like we're roommates.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get to that point for you to say in an argument always and never, because again, I think it's an unfair way to.
I know you dislike that word. That's
I don't like it, man. I don't really like it.
I don't really like for me to pick this topic. It says also here, you always interrupt me. You never really listen to me. You never take me anywhere. You never talk to our children in a caring or loving way. You never, you never drive our kids to school or help with homework. Always leaving it up to me, even when I've told you I'm completely overloaded.
See, but if the person's told you that they're completely overloaded, I think at some particular point, maybe it's warranted for them to say always and never, because
also there's a time when you can.
There's probably a time, only because you want to drive home the fact that you've been telling them this for a very long time. I think that can get you closer to it. Again, it probably is not technically true, because maybe once out of the month you did it, or twice out of the month you did it. But I'm saying it can drive the fact a little bit closer to what you want to say, if you know what I mean. You mentioned that before. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good point too.
And this is another one. You always manage to get your way, and you can never compromise with me. You never take out the garbage or do the laundry, wash the dishes, or put them in the sink. You never kiss me when you leave for or come home from work. You never go shopping with me.
All right, so
you never do anything fun with me.
And this is what we don't want for people to think that other people are mind readers either, because women always think that men should just read their minds, which is this is a big epidemic.
Right? Y'all think that too.
No. We men usually logically think things through, and we know that if we have not said something.
No, bro, y'all don't always think things through.
For the most part, you see always that word again. To me, like, women always think that in their mind, how they look at things is very dramatic, and I don't want to make you feel that, but I'm saying it's dramatic in your mind. I'm telling you, it's a little bit different with how men think when they think about like more compartmentalize everything. So everything is like 1 box, 2 box, 3 box. This is family. This is the time I spent. This is, you know what I mean. So it's 3 different things. Women, all the wires are crossed, and all of those are together. It's one big ball. You know what I mean?
It is.
So it's like they think a little bit different from how we think. And of course, I don't want to say nothing disrespectful. I'm just saying that we are different when it comes to that. You know?
I agree with you that we are different, but I just still think that there are some commonalities that we do share as husband and wife.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think that
we should agree on certain things.
Or we should agree on. And And some of those things are, even though I may use the word always or never, and I know it's a trigger for you, but if you could think back and said, you know, if y'all have these boxes, you could be like, oh, spending time together, that box, it seems kind of empty. No, I'm looking in the box and it seems kind of empty. Like I really haven't been doing this. So I could see why she would say never, even though it's not never. I'm gonna let her slide on that part.
Yeah.
You know. So then at that point it would be like, okay, you know what, you're right, babe. Let's go out. Now I can understand like things that you do on a daily basis, because I do throw that word in, because I mean I don't know why it's easy for me to say. If I'm frustrated, it's easy for me to say, you always leave the place dirty.
Yeah.
You know. So you feel so frustrated So
you're trying to, before you get to the point of frustration, you may want to bring it up, basically, too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. So I totally get it. I love this topic. You know, what is one of those things where I think that's a good topic.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
I'm sure there are a lot of always and nevers out there.
Listen. So what's the moral of the story? So the moral of the story for me is that always, never, those words could be triggering for certain people. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's 100% right or technically right, I would say, but we should not let it get to that point where your mate feel as though it's good going into the realm of never or always in their mind, because it just doesn't happen often. Okay, so I think you know, that's what my point is. What do you think?
Okay, for me, I do agree that always and never, it could possibly be triggering. When you do say always and never, it could take away whatever you've been doing for a long time, but sometimes that always or never grabs your attention. You know what I'm saying? So for instance, if, you know, I say to him, you never wash the dishes, you never help me clean up, you know, and he's playing his video games, and I'm like, hey babe, you know, don't forget to help me next time. And he's gonna be like, okay, cool.
Is that what I do?
So, you know, that little soft, he's gonna forget that. But if I come by and I'm like, you know what, I'm tired of this, you never help me, I'm always doing this by myself. What?
Wait, so that...
You're gonna be like, you're gonna put the game down at that point though, right? You're gonna put the game down at that point, because didn't that grab your attention?
That grabbed my attention a lot more than you just saying it, so I do it. So we just can't do that though. We gotta pay attention to the small things before it gets into it. But I get what you're saying.
Because it's like you do want the simple approach, right? But sometimes the simple approach does not grab you the way you would want it to. Babe, don't forget dinner tonight. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I told you. But because I didn't say, honestly, let me be honest with you. I get better results from you saying always and never. I don't get like,
why?
I get the babe, hey, I don't, it's like, oh, alright. And it's like, I don't know, something about that just goes over your head and you're on to the next thing.
So basically I'm doing a terrible job of listening to the smaller things before it gets big.
So is this about always or never? Is this about communication?
It's a lot about communication, and not just communication, but also reciprocation of what the person is saying as well. Yeah. So you got to make sure that you listen, pay attention, even when things sound like it's not an emergency, the house is not burning down.
Because we don't want to wait until
it's an emergency.
Exactly, right? Because that's what you're saying. It's like, you got to come to me before it's an emergency, but I did. You forgot.
Yeah.
Because it didn't hold any weight because I was so soft about it.
I got you. So that's really great. Wow. So yeah, okay. I think that's good for the for this week, guys. If you guys have any comments or anything, of course,
just always come back.
Yeah, always. See, use that word always. So that's
never leave. Okay.
There we go. This is a good way to use it. All right. So listen, guys. Go ahead and comment if you feel the same about anything that we said today. If this is your first time,
this never is a thing. It's not just our thing. It's a thing. Yeah.
If this is your first time being here, just go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. Make sure that you know, you come back next week when we're gonna do this all again. And again, guys, if you don't know about what we do, of course we do these sit downs once or so per week, and then we do in between. We'll do like family time. We do with our kids. We do vlogging, everything else. So
just come back.
Just come back. Always check on us. Get the notification going so you can see when we have a new video out. And thanks so much for all the support we've gotten so far. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again next week.